Yamunatera Manachamute Shimad, His Divine Grace Savaya Charanara Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopadat Shyam Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Maturanam Ki Jai, Jagadada Swami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Shivani Lasi Devi Ki Jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Go, Premananda, Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya. Udale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi. Gauravani Charlie, Nivashesha Shunyavadi, Plaschacha, Jayashutari. So, what verse are we reading?
10, 12, 37.
37, okay. So, we're reading from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th chapter, text 37. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Etat
Egat
Kumarajam Karma Hare Atmahi Mokshanam Mrityo Pogandake Bala Drishvochur Vismita Vraje Etat Kumarajam Karma Hare Ratmahi Mokshanam Vichopo Kanda Kevala Drishvochur Vismitas Braje Etat Kumarajam Karma Hare Ratmahi Mokshanam Vichopakanda Kevada Drishvochur Vismita Braje Etat Kumarajam Karma Hare Ratmahi Mokshanam Vichopakanda Kevada Drishvochur Vismita Braje. Okay.
Kumarajan karma Hare Ratmahi Mokshana Mrityur Pogandake Bala Drishvochur Vishmita Braje
Etat Kumarajam Karma Hare Ratmahi Mokshanam Dhupogandya Kevala Istvachur Vismate Vraje
Kumarajam Karma Hare Atmahi Mokshanam Dhupogandagi Bala Drishvochur Vismita Vraje Etat Kumarajam Karma Hare Atmahi Mokshanam Virtu Pogandake Bala Drishvochur Vismita Vraje
Ladies.
Etat Kumarajam Karma Hare Ratmahi Mokshanam Mrityu Gandake Bala Drishvochur Vishmita Vraje Etat Kumarajam Karma Hare Ratmahi Mokshanam Mrityu Pogandake Bala Drishvochur Vishmita Vraje Etat Kumarajam Karma Hare Ratmahi Mokshanam Mrityu Pogandake Bala Drishvochur Vishmita
All right. Etat. This incident of delivering both Aghasura and Krishna's associates from death. You repeat? So, all right, let's do a little. This incident
This incident
of delivering both
delivering both
Aghasura and Krishna's associates
Aghasura and Krishna's associates
from death.
from
from
death.
death.
Kumara Jam Karma,
Kumara Jam Karma,
performed during their Kumara age,
Performed during their Kumara age,
the age of 5 years.
age of 5 years.
Hare,
Hare,
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Atma,
Atma,
the devotees,
devotees,
who are the Lord's heart and soul.
who is the Lord's heart and soul.
Ahi Mokshanam,
Ahimokshanam,
their deliverance,
their deliverance,
and the deliverance of the python.
and the deliverance of the python.
Mitjo,
Mrityu,
from the path
of the path,
of repeated birth and death.
the repeated birth and death.
Pogandake,
Pogandaki,
at the age of Poganda,
at the age of Poganda,
beginning with the 6th year,
beginning with the 6th year,
1 year later.
1 year later.
Bala,
Bala,
all the boys.
all the boys.
Drishva,
Isra,
Uchu,
Raju,
disclosed the fact
disclose the fact
after 1 year.
after 1 year.
Vismita,
Vismita,
as if it had happened
as incident happened
on that very day.
on the very day.
Braje, in Vrindavana.
Now,
So translation. This incident of Krishna's saving himself and his associates from death and of giving deliverance to Aghasura, who had assumed the form of a python, took place when Krishna was 5 years old. That's Kumara. It was disclosed in Braja Bhumi after 1 year as if it had taken place on that same very day. Okay. So purport, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The word mokshanam means liberation. For the associates of Krishna and for Krishna himself, there's no question about liberation. They were already liberated being in the spiritual world. In the material world, there are birth, death, old age, and disease. But in the spiritual world, there are no such things because everything is eternal. As for the python, however, that's a Aghasura, in case you haven't figured that out. However, by the association of Krishna and his devotees, Aghasura also achieved the same facility of eternal life. Therefore, as indicated here by the word Atmahi Mokshanam, if the python, Aghasura, could receive eternal association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what is to be said of those who are already associates of the Lord? Sakam Vijavru Krita Punya Punja, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:12. That means they perform many, many pious activities. So here's proof pious activities means Krishna consciousness in this context. Here is proof that God is good for everyone. Even when he kills someone, the one who is killed attains liberation. What then is to be said of those who are ready in the association of the Lord? So again, verse Etad kumarajam karma hareratma dimokshanam mritshoganda kevala drishvochur vismita vrajay. So Om Gana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmiditam Yena Tasmai Shikarave Namaha. So there's several points here. Of course, one point is this word vismita actually means And Prabhupada translates, as if it happened the same day. It actually means they forgot in Sanskrit. It's that, but actually, here's the story. It appeared as if they forgot, but they didn't forget. And different acharyas explain it differently. Some acharyas explain it that they were just bewildered and talking about it because they were just little boys. And then the next year, they were able to reveal it. And then we also have the story in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna was out there in the pasturing field with his cowherd boys, and Lord Brahma decided to steal the cowherd boys and the calves. And so during that year, Krishna took the form of all the cowherd boys and the calves, and they were actually Krishna. And Krishna did that for many different reasons. One reason is that he wanted everyone in Braj to have that personal relationship with him. So there were all the mothers of all the cowherd boys, and they were thinking, well, we want to be Krishna's mother. And so they actually got a chance, and they were more affectionate to Krishna when he took the form of their children than they were to their children otherwise. That's very interesting. Generally a parent is very affectionate towards the child, and you can't interfere with that. And even so much to a certain extent that even if the child does something that other people would consider to be disgusting, like passing stool, the mother thinks it's like sandalwood pulp. You've heard that before. So, but in this case, the parents actually were more attracted to Krishna than their own children. Now, I'm not saying that all you parents can do that, but really that's Krishna consciousness. So, and not only the parents, but even the cows had that aspect of maternal affection in them. Although generally cows are not considered to be in the particular Vatsalya, right? They're not considered to be like parental affection. They're considered to be mainly a little service and shanta service, generally the cows. But it's interesting in the spiritual world that even those in primarily shanta ras, they have a mixture of different rasas that flavor the primary ras. This is the mixture of rasavas. They mix, and in a very flavorful way. So just like the trees, there are trees there, but they're primarily in shanta. Shanta means just peaceful adoration of Krishna. But still, because they're in the spiritual world, there has to be some dasha there. Because everyone, jivera swarupa hoy, nitya Krishna das. Everyone is servant of Krishna in the spiritual world, isn't it? So they're serving. So you find, when we talk about these 5 rasas, Shantaras, Dasharas, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, and ultimately Madhurya ras, that they're flavored by different other rasas. And not only the other direct rasas, they're flavored by the indirect rasas, the secondary rasas, like adbhuta, shock, or humor, right? Or chivalry, or ghastliness. Like when Krishna kills a dealer, little ghastly there, his blood. Like when the Goswami Krishna popped out of he choked him, he popped out of the head, so there must have been some blood there too. So it's a little ghastly. So you find these different rasas, they're mixtures like the different colors, like this color of this cloth where the books are on. It's not pure red, it's like a mixture of different colors of my dhoti. And there's shades, intensity, luminosity when you're dealing with color, isn't it? And so that's the nature of this spiritual world. You know, and sometimes there's anger, the devotees get angry, Yashodamai gets angry at Krishna, right? For stealing the butter. Then the gopis get angry with Krishna, it's called man. They're man, they get angry with Krishna because Krishna is associating with another gopi. Shrimati Radharani especially gets angry. So you have all these different mixtures. So the cows, getting back to the point, cows have sort of a maternal mixture in their ras, or mixture of the rasas. And they're feeling, you know, we want to have Krishna as our son, our calf. Krishna is the calf. Can you imagine that? Krishna has different incarnations in different species of life, so Krishna has a calf incarnation. Many calf incarnations. So for 1 year, Krishna took on the form of all these different personalities of Vrindavan, the calves and the children like that. And it's interesting, the older, they were older calves, so by that time, and the cows had new calves, but they actually were more affectionate towards the older calves, and they came running down the hill. So anyway, so there's so many stories like that. But there's another thing that happened during that year, is that there were marriages arranged during that year. They say 5-year-old boys getting married. Have you arranged Parth's marriage yet? You want your parents to arrange your marriage? Now? 25. But in the old days, they would actually have the marriages, like you hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I think his wife was about 5 years old or something like that when they got married. It's not that they live with each other. You know, that happened later when they were 18, 19, 20, 21. But it was arranged for the purpose of people being attached to each other. Nowadays, the system is that people have so many boyfriends and girlfriends by the time they're 18. Just like sometimes we are preaching in the university, and we talk to some lady and she says, "Oh, I'd like you to meet my eternal love." I said, "Hello, eternal love. How are you?" Whatever, John or Joe or whatever. And the boy is thinking, this girl's eternal love forever and ever, hearts and flowers and valentines. And then the next week it's another eternal love, or next month. They're continually experiencing separation and meeting, you know, as a reflection of the spiritual world. So there was a reason for that. Because Prabhupada says it's actually a fact that the first person that you become attached to in life, that's it, you know, you just like, I mean, look at Mandodari. She couldn't give up Ravan. Vibhishan couldn't give up Ravan because he wasn't married to Ravan. But Mandodari was pious. Excuse me. She was actually understood Krishna consciousness, Ram consciousness. Isn't it? She was spiritual. Yet she stayed with that rascal Rama. Lankapati. Like, yes, you're a perfect girl. Lankapati. What else was it? Lankapati, what else Pati? Sitapati, Sitapati, Lankapati. All these patis. So she stayed with Robert, even though he was kidnapping all these other girls. Can you imagine that? You come home one day, you ladies, and you find your husband has kidnapped like 3 or 4 girls and he hasn't been home. And you say, oh, you're just my husband. My husband may crush me by his embrace or leave me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He's completely free to do anything and everything, and he'll always remain my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Does that sound familiar? So that's a reflection of Radharani's love for Krishna. And in the material world, that's actually very exalted, like Prabhupada. Of course, if someone's abusive, you should leave him. Like Prabhupada said, his sister was married to a guy who was completely bad. A drunkard, everything. And then he eventually changed around because she was actually faithful to him. So it's interesting. Not that one has to tolerate everything. That's not what I'm saying. At a certain point, it's too much. But the point is that when people have a relationship early in life, it's just cemented in the consciousness. You grow up with that particular understanding. Prabhupada said it's difficult. As you get older, it's difficult to have those same strong attachments. Prabhupada even says, even insofar as Krishna consciousness is concerned, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Right? So we find the Krishna conscious movement is good to start with the young people. I'm not calling them dogs, anyway. The young people, isn't it? And they're exposed to Krishna, they have a nice experience and everything like that, and then they can never forget Krishna. Even if they try to drink kava later on, they'll be thinking, I'm not supposed to do this. Krishna's not happy with me, okay. He said, once one has had a taste of Krishna consciousness, it spoils one. You see this sometimes. People try their best to be in Maya, but you can't do it. I want to be in Maya, but I can't forget Krishna. It happens. I mean, I never tried it, but anyway. You can't forget Krishna. Just like sometimes I'm on an airplane and they play in a Bollywood movie. I look at it for a few minutes and I can't forget Krishna. I said, what the H-E-double-L am I doing watching this thing? Even though it has Akshay Kumar, why should I watch it? So anyway, so that's the reason for this young marriage. So all these girls, they actually got married to Krishna, who had taken the form of all the cowherd boys. And so really the gopis, including Srimati Radharani, were married to Krishna. And all these other marriages were illusory. You understand? Like this person Radharani was married to, his name was Abhimanyu. Not the same Abhimanyu in the Mahabharata, but it's just illusory. He never even went near Radharani. Even he thought, one time, Yashoda Mai gave him a whole box of jewels to bring to Radharani so that Radharani would smile upon him. He tried his best, but inside that box, even though he didn't know about it, was Krishna. So he gave this box to Srimati Radharani and says, please decorate yourself with whatever is in the box. And so he left the room and Radharani opened the box and, you know, the jack in the box? So Krishna in the box, he popped out. We did a very nice play on that during Janmashtami this year. It was beautiful. I have a recording of it if anyone wants to see it. It was a whole play of this Krishna in the box play. It's beautiful. It was done by our Gurukulis. Beautiful, beautiful play. So anyway, this was the reason, the esoteric reason why Lord Brahma stole the cowherd boys and calves, to actually enhance Krishna's pastimes. But he didn't know it. Lord Brahma didn't know that. That was Yogamaya, not Mahamaya. Lord Brahma is a pure devotee. And so he wasn't in material illusion. He was actually doing this to enhance Krishna's pastime, Yogamaya, like that. Like Mother Yashoda gets angry with Krishna, it's all Yoga Maya. It's interesting, the followers of Shripad Madhvacharya don't like that pastime. Because they are very devoted to Lord Brahma, members of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So they don't even mention the Brahma Vimohana Leela at all. If you mention it to them, they go, no, didn't happen. What I'm from this. It's part of Krishna's pastimes. That's why the coward boys didn't talk about killing of Aghasura. Now, another thing here that Prabhupada mentions in the purport is the liberation. Now, Aghasura and many of the demons got this thing called Sayuja Mukti. Sayuja Mukti means you actually merge. You don't really merge, but it's apparently you merge into the Brahmajyoti, which surrounds the Lord. The Brahmajyoti is composed of different spirit souls who are floating around, like twinkle, twinkle, little star. You ever heard this? Like little twinkling little souls. And they're in a state of suspended animation. In other words, like sleep. No happiness, whatever. No action. And so, arudikachena parampadam, ultimately they fall down from that particular position. But that's the demon's liberation. So if someone thinks, I should become Krishna's enemy, I should blaspheme the devotees, engage in politics, and then I will think of Krishna 24 hours a day like Kamsa. Doesn't work. Actually, Prabhupada said, and the Acharyas state, that if one thinks in hate, it's actually more powerful than love. As far as the thinking of, like, you hate someone, it's just like 24 hours a day. You're just carrying that person around on your back. That's why you shouldn't have any enemies. If you engage in politics, let's say you really hate someone. Let's say I hated Ravan. I don't. I love him. And I was just thinking, Ravan, 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 all day long. Then it's very powerful. I'd be associating with him. So you find, those of you who are politicians here, any politicians? Raise your hand if you're a politician. So those of you who are politicians should understand that when you're planning something against someone, you're thinking of them 24 hours a day. So you want to do something with them, but they've already taken over your heart. It's true, isn't it? Like someone's envious. You find people who engage in Vaishnava aparada as their occupational duty in Krishna consciousness. How to find fault. We were talking about this yesterday. How to find fault in Krishna consciousness. And that way they're actually associating with devotees 24 hours a day. Isn't it? Yeah. But in a negative way. So maybe they'll get Sayuja Mukti, but most likely, in those cases, most likely they will get cholera, leprosy, some disease, isn't it? Die an early death. Just like it happened with this Ramchandra Khan, who insulted Haridas Thakur, everything was taken away. Ramchandra Khan. His name was Ramchandra Khan. Was it Ramchandra? Yeah. Yeah, well, there's Gopal Japala, Ramchandra Khan, Ramchandra Puri, actually a lot of Ramchandras. So anyway, so they had a spiritual name. So anyway, so you actually find this, that people suffer. They don't even get Sayuja Mukti. So if you have to be envious and criticize someone, make it Krishna, not a devotee. If you have to be an enemy of anyone, Be an enemy of Krishna, not of Krishna's devotees. It's more dangerous to be an enemy of Krishna's devotee than Krishna. Think about that. So better you just go around and, I hate Krishna. Like your friend, Shishupal. Right? He was such a good poet. He could come up with 100 reasons to criticize Krishna. I can only come up with one reason. The only reason I've ever come up with to criticize Krishna is that when he appeared as Lord Ram, he sent Sita Devi away. That's the only reason. Every other reason, I can't think of any other reason. But Shishupal was more expert than me. Isn't it 100 times? Because he got in the benediction that Krishna will not kill you unless you've committed 100 offenses. So Krishna will go in 99, 98, 97, 96, 97, and then his head cut off. But he got Sayuja Mukti. But the devotees, they don't want Sayuja Mukti. Kaivalya Narakayate. Kaivalya, same thing. It's like hell. Why is it like hell? Because you can't do anything. You can't enjoy. You can't dance. You can't chant. You can't eat prasadam. You can't have a relationship with anybody. It's narakayate. It is hell. So we are not interested in that. But there's other types of mukti that devotees would accept. Sarupya, having a similar form to that of the Lord. Salokya, living on the same planet. Sarsti, having the same opulence as the Lord. Samipya, like that, associated with the Lord. So there's 4 types of Vaishnava liberation. Sometimes the demons get one of those. Just like in the case of your friend Putana. She got that. She became a mother of Krishna, associated with Krishna in the spiritual world. Why did she get it? Because she had a touch of devotion. Because Krishna is so compassionate that if you have one little touch of devotion, because in her previous life, Putana was Bali Maharaj's sister. And she became attracted to Lord Vamana as her child. But then she got angry at Lord Vamana for cheating her brother. So there's some touch of devotion. Isn't it? Some touch. Krishna is so kind. He takes the touch of devotion and purifies you and gets rid of all the bad stuff. Like with Putana, he sucked out all the bad stuff out of her. So Krishna will do that with us if we have a little devotion. But what is that devotion? Devotion isn't, I want to get out of the material world. That's desire for mukti. Devotion isn't, I worship Krishna for something nice in the material world. That's bhukti, right? Bhukti. Mukti and bhukti. Jai. Shri Radhavindran Chandra Ki Jai. So bhukti. So anyway, Anyabi Lashata Shunyam Yana Karmana Avritam Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktirutama. So one has to be devoid or have at least a touch of something beyond that. Some love has to be there. Has to be from the heart. If you're approaching Krishna for mukti or bhukti, that's what you get. So a devotee has at least something. He's maybe mixed, sakama. But that's all right. Even if you're just about everybody's sakama. Otherwise, if you were nishkam, you'd be a pure devotee. You have to admit it. You may look. Sometimes devotees say, those demigods, they have so many material desires. Hey, look at yourself. If they put you in the position of Indra, you would get angry with Krishna. Right? You say, I'm a devotee, I have no material desires. Yes, tell me all about it, Prabhu. Not true. You're here because you wanted your wealth, or a little bit of wealth, or distress, or knowledge, or something like that, right? Taturvidha, Vajanti. You wanted one of those things. So, just be honest with yourself. But at least have some little bit of bhakti. Because what is bhakti? All we described last night comes from the Bhakti Lata Bij, but it means the desire for Krishna to be happy. That's basically it. And the Guru to be happy. That's it. We want Krishna to be happy. And so even if you have a little bit of that, you'll be all right. As long as you don't offend devotees. If you offend devotees, bhakti goes away. She runs away. No more taste for chanting. Then chanting becomes so difficult. Chanting 16 rounds becomes like working in the sugar cane industry. Isn't it? It becomes like hell. Can you imagine? Like, one time I took a tour of the mill. Not this mill. This mill's too dangerous. It was the one in Lotoka. This mill's too old. They would never let a guest in this mill. It's better than Lotoka? Anyway, I went into Lotoka mill, and it was like going to Yamaraj's abode. You know, there's noise and fire and crushing. Living entities were being crushed. You know, this is what hell is like. Yeah, you want to experience hell, just walk a little bit. So anyway, so getting back to the bhakti, so if you commit offense, then chanting becomes like working in the mill, right? And if you don't commit offense, chanting becomes more and more pleasant every day. So it's up to you. We should respect all Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpa parubhesha, kripa sindhu vyevacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Actually, Rupa Goswami describes in the Upadeshamrita that even if someone just chants Hare Krishna once, we offer respects in the mind. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Just once. Just like this story of Gadadhar Das. He went to see the cousin. Not Gadadhar Das Goswami, but Gadadhar Das. He went to see this cousin. The cousin, he was merciful. Vaishnavas are merciful. So he went to see the cousin. He says, in the middle of the night, he wakes the cousin up. Cousin was the Muslim guy who was in charge. He wakes him up. Wake up, wake up! What do you want? You know, there's really risking his life. Could you imagine? I would never try that. What do you want? Chant Hare Krishna, Kazi. He's wiping his eyes. What's this doing? This guy's doing. Oh, get away! Tomorrow I'll chant Hare Krishna. And Gadadhar Das, in his mind, was offering respect. He said, why wait till tomorrow? You already chanted Hare Krishna. Who do you owe? So anyway, so even if someone goes Hare Krishna once, I respect you. Interesting, isn't it? But we are thinking, you know, someone's chanting Hare Krishna a lot of times. Well, I don't like him. I want to pull him down. Isn't it? Pull him down. his feet, because if I grab his feet, that's too respectful. I'll pull him down by his sika. So, we're thinking like that, isn't it? This is called E-N-V-E-Y. We should just love all the Vaishnavas. It's so rare. Isn't it rare to be Vaishnava? Manasanam sahasresha kaschit yatati sahi yatatam api sidnam kascham maham eti tapota. You know, out of many, many people, maybe one person looking for the truth, and out of many, many of those, perhaps one understands the truth, there are many, many of those, perhaps one knows Krishna. Wow. So all of you are very rare. So it's like gems. You know, it's like sometimes a diamond in the rough needs a little polishing. But you don't throw the diamond away. You don't criticize, oh, there's diamond. It's not nice. No, you just have to wait till it gets polished. Isn't it? And people discover big diamonds on it, like this size. And it's worth millions and millions of dollars, even though it's not polished. So the process of bhakti that we're all working on will polish us and will become brilliant diamonds. Now you I'll take them and I'll polish them. That's my business, to polish diamonds. So anyway, we're not interested in Sayuja Mukti, and a Vaishnava also doesn't ask for the other types of mukti. A Vaishnava is Narayana Puraksarena Kutashna Vivyati Swarga Apavarga Dharkeshu Apitulyartha Darshana. A Vaishnava is ready wherever you want to send me, Krishna. That's pure devotional service. Whatever you want to send. Send me to heaven, send me to hell, send me back to Godhead, send me to the earth, send me to Fiji, wherever you want to send me. And so that's pure Vaishnava. So here we find a Gas or a Heather Sayuja Bhakti. So, on that happy note, any questions or comments? Yeah.
How can we avoid offenses in Bhakti Marg so that we can progress, not least in spiritual
How can we avoid?
offenses?
Whenever we think of someone, we should think of something good about them. You know, our minds in the material world are like monkeys, flies. The fly goes for the sores, the stool, and everything like that. So naturally, when we see someone, our propensity is to criticize them. Just like I was seeing Bali this morning. And I said, he's missing a spot of hair on his head. So naturally, but the rest of the head has nice hair. Isn't it? You have one bald spot on your head. So that's what I noticed. I mean, it's interesting. Isn't it? It's actually an interesting phenomenon. Of course, I wasn't criticizing you for having a bald spot. But naturally, I noticed the bald spot before I noticed the nice hair. You also have bald spots. Here and a little here, but trying to grow your hair longer so we can comb it over. So isn't it? You naturally notice those things. So instead you have to just take your mind and think of the good things. This person is done doing this, and I'm looking at the bald spot and he's offering art. There's Krishna there, He's doing devotional service, and I'm concentrating on the bald spot on his head. No, it's not that bad. I'm just giving you an example. Isn't it? It's crazy. But we like that, we like that, we had to find some fault. Like Robin said about someone who became a Supreme Court judge. He said, maybe he's a Supreme Court judge, but he's not getting a salary. So we naturally go towards the negative there. It's just part of human psychology, right? Like if I come into the temple and I see one light bulb is out or something like that. It's like, yesterday I was giving a class yesterday night. And people had their back towards Prabhupada, so I noticed that before. But of course that was useful. So it's not that being negative is always bad. Because I just want Prabhupada to be respected. It's a positive thing. Actually, some of you have your back now to Prabhupada. Please. Turn around a little bit so your back isn't to Prabhupada. There's one devotee back there. So naturally we notice these things. So we have to think of the positive things. So instead of thinking, well, your back is the problem, instead of thinking something negative about you, it's nice you're here. You come to class. Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you for coming to class. So we do have to notice the negative things. At the same time, the positive things should be much more prominent. Try to get those first before you get to the negative. It's nice you come to class. Just like sometimes in the past, what was that story you were telling me yesterday? That someone was preaching in Fiji and they were criticizing someone's, that someone was worshiping someone or something. What was that story? They smacked, what? They're criticizing the Tulsidas Ramayana. That was the story. Someone came to this new place, and yet we understand the Valmiki Ramayana is the authorized Ramayana. I understand that very well. I know what Prabhupada said, but there's a time, it's like preaching the glories of the Lord to those who don't understand. It's just like you go and smash people. It's just like you just turn people off. And sometimes you're wrong too. Like I told the story in Salva. I had a disciple who had a picture of my body, on his altar. And then one of the Ritviks came to his house. And he ripped the picture off. He said, I'm not going to eat at your house. You're offering to that person. So even if he's trying to make more Ritviks, it doesn't work. Even if you're trying to make people more demoniac, you have to be a little intelligent. Right? You can't just go in and smash their guru's picture. Take like a hatchet. Or if you go into someone's house and they have demigods on their altar, you don't just go in and go, push them all to the ground. You say, this is nice. You put them on a lower level. They're all servants of Krishna. Like we're not supposed to discourage people because of their material attachments, but encourage them in a spirit of devotion. To dovetail. And then after they dovetail, their material attachments go away. Like someone has a nice car, we don't say that's Maya. Someone comes in with a brand new car and is driving it. Say, oh, you're really attached. No, he'll never come to the temple again. You say, what a nice car. Can you go pick up the grocery, for Krishna? In a sense, it's just that, there's a positive way of dealing with people. It doesn't work. The negative doesn't work. So, devotees should be positive. Now they can go to tell people, don't see that mind, this and that, you know. Oh my God. And then the people will say, don't bring that person here ever again. I mean, they're ready to put him on a cross, basically. Crucifixion, you know. You know, it's just like attacking someone's child. Let's say someone has a child, and you notice the child, there's something wrong with the child. You know, let's say the child has a cripple, and you say, your child's a cripple. Oh my God, you can't do that. Or let's say someone's ugly. You don't go to someone and say, you are ugly. That's your two ladies. It'd be dangerous. So you have to look at the positive. So, you know, with Bali, I should just say, oh, how nice it is he's doing art. I didn't think like that. I did. I didn't concentrate the whole arti on your balls. Yeah, don't worry. That was just 1 second. And that's, you know, how nice. He's doing arti. Wow, everyone's cooperating together. It's such a sweet mood. You know, that's what I was thinking. So we just change our mind. Oh, no, I'm thinking negatively. Change your mind, right way. Because naturally the mind will go to the fault. Isn't it?